is a significant sociological example of spurious correlations. How many of you have ever noticed that there are a lot of churches in downtown areas of cities, of towns of some size, especially in the South and Midwest of this country? And here we are in the Bible Belt. How many of you have just driven through a downtown area and thought, man, look at all these churches. We got Baptist, Methodist, Catholic. We got all kinds of places of worship, right? And how many of you have noticed that there are a lot of bars in those places too? A lot of churches, a lot of bars in downtown areas. Ever notice that? Charleston, South Carolina is a great example of this. Charleston, South Carolina is called the Holy City. You know why it's called the Holy City? Because they got so many churches on that peninsula. Just church after church, just after church everywhere. But Charleston, South Carolina also has a huge rate of bars / restaurants that serve alcohol on that peninsula too. Some of the largest rates in this country for the size of the city. So everybody, looking at our cause and effect, relationships, understandings, is it true that church causes bars? Does church cause bars? No. So it must be that bars cause church. Bars cause church to exist. No. It's a spurious correlation. What's the real answer? What causes a lot of churches to be in downtown areas? What causes a lot of bars to be in downtown areas? And I promise, because I've seen it, there are some bars right beside churches in Charleston. Right beside. They're neighbors. What is it? What causes a lot of churches and a lot of bars in downtown areas? Whoa. I heard it. Who said that? Yes. Poverty. Poverty is the answer. It goes right there. Churches, bars. Just on this diagram, put church, put bar. What causes churches and bars in downtown areas? It's poverty. It's economy. It's social class. Whew. We're just putting the pieces of the puzzle together, everybody. We're just putting the puzzle pieces together. All right, so looking at poverty. In downtown cities, outside usually the center city where there's a lot of wealth, or the parts of the city that have been gentrified where there's a lot of wealth, there's a lot of poverty. If you are living in poverty, and because of your poverty, you don't have a mode of transportation out to the jobs in suburbia, and there are no good jobs where you live, and you don't make any money, you don't have a lot of money, how do you deal with that situation? How do you deal with that poverty? How do you deal with being maybe undereducated, lacking skills, no job? How do you deal with all of this? On a daily basis, you drink. You go to the bar and you sit down with our bartender that I referenced earlier, and you tell your bartender all of your problems, and maybe that bartender makes you feel what? Better. Maybe that bartender makes you feel better about your situation. Just for a little while. Or maybe whatever is in the bottom of that glass does. You just forget about your problems for a little while. Or conversely, same situation, but instead of going to the bar, you go where? You go to church, because what are you looking for there? The same thing you're looking for at the bar. Hope, peace. You ever heard people say, God has a plan? Something like that? God will take care of us? All of that kind of stuff? Yeah? Especially when people are struggling. They're going to these places of worship hoping what? Hoping things will get better. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the manifest functions of religion. So, to deal with this economic situation, you might go to a church. You might go to a bar. And that, everybody, is why there's a bunch of both of them in downtown cities.